Hi, Sue Wilson, and I'm here to show off the Mosaic Bauble die set. I think this is such an elegant card. Doesn't even really need a sentiment. It just echoes what Christmas is about. So I'll show you what we'll be using. A couple items here. This is the Mosaic Bauble set. So I've got an outer frame and an inner like scene. We're going to use both of those. And I'm going to be using a little piece of Rubit Scrubit with some gilding flakes. This is the Sunlight Speckle gilding flake. Okay, pop these over. And I think you've guessed it, we're going to be doing a fire and ice technique. So what I've done is I've cut the outer die on the Mosaic Bauble with a piece of coconut white card, and I've left just a little border on it, and I'll give you a quick measurement. It is 5.5 by 6 3/4. So what I want to do for the fire and ice technique is to use a self-adhesive sticky sheet over the top of this. And I've cut it a little bit larger, so I've got a little wiggle room, and we'll just trim it down. Pop that down. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do it upside down like this. So the front of this is going to go face down first. All right. I'm going to use the waxy side of this to make sure it's nice and adhered all the way around onto that sticky sheet. Okay. Don't need that now. I'm going to bring in our Sunlight Speckle, and I'll tell you what, gilding flakes are always a tiny bit messy, so I'm going to try and see if we can keep it contained on a piece of card here. And I've got a little piece of Rubit Scrubit that I cut off of the bigger piece. So this is your Sunlight Speckle, and it's basically a gold and a silver. So it's got a little bit of both mixed in together. So I'm just going to pop a few down. And we'll use our Rubit Scrubit and sort of move it into that exposed adhesive that's come through the die cut area, since we put it on the top. Just move it around, try and get all of that in there. We probably have enough here. Always takes a little more than you realize, but I think I've gauged it really nicely here. And what I'm going to do is, just to make it a little easier to trim, I'm going to take the excess bits and just move it to the outside of the frame so it's not quite as sticky to grab. There we go. Okay. That looks pretty good. Pop that on. So you don't need very much of this. Okay, and I've got little bits of it floating around, but we're not going to worry about that. So what I want to do is trim this. Now, I think I'm going to try and hand trim it, see how well we do. I'm going to just kind of keep it even with the edge of that frame. Go along. There we go. There's one piece. Do the other side. I prefer to cut this in a paper cutter when I've got a really nice big one to use, and I can do it quite evenly. The little portable ones are a little bit tougher with sticky sheets. They jam it up a lot, so I want to just cut it and get it nice and tidy. There we go. And the last one here. But I would recommend, if you're doing this at home, use a paper cutter. I think it's a lot easier. Okay, so now what I want to do is tidy up my area. I don't want to have any of those gilding flakes around when I do the next step. So let me just get all of that out of the way. Keep it nice and clean. Okay, now I'm going to bring over another piece of copy paper, clean one, and I want to just make sure. Hang on a second. I've got none of those lying around. Okay. So now what we want to do is take the other side off. So I'm going to just lean in a little bit, get it started. There we go. I've got a tiny little edge, but you'll get the idea. Peel this back and bring in my ice snow. Now, I don't actually want to waste the ice snow on that center section, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and put my next piece in there so it's not actually going to need to go into that area at all. So this is going to be the back mat for the next part of the card. So I'm going to center that and raise it. Let me just get it in there nice and straight. That looks pretty good. Okay, so now I shouldn't have to worry about that edge or anything but the edge. So I'm going to pop the ice on here. So you have the fire from the Gilding Flakes and the ice from the Ice Snow, and that's where the name comes from. Pop that on there. And when you do something like this and you keep the center from being glittered just to save your product, what you want to make sure to do is put a piece in the center so that if it presses down, it won't get stuck to that sticky piece down there. It'll keep it all nice and even. You get a much, much nicer look in the end. Okay, so now we've got a beautiful fire and ice background. One of my absolute all-time favorite of all of my techniques. And I think what we'll do is just add a little bit of tape on here, keeping it just a little bit in from the edge. Tape it into place. And that should work. And I'm going to add a little bit of glue as well, just to keep it nice and secure. Okay, pop that on, center it. There's just a little white mat that'll show. That looks pretty good. There we go. Now, I've gone ahead and cut out the center of the bauble. It's got some really pretty baubles and snowflakes there, and that's out of Silver Shine card. And I'm just going to put a backing on that. So we'll use some spray glue. There we go. Get that lined up nice and straight. And I want to add just a couple little pearls to that. It's just crying out for a couple right in the middle of those snowflakes. There we go. And this little piece is 4.5 by 3 1/4. And we will just pop that into the middle of that gold mirror. A little bit of glue. Get that nice and straight. There you go. And there you have it, a totally elegant card with the fire and ice technique and your golds and your silvers. It's just so pretty for Christmas. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and we have so many more for you to look at. Our YouTube channel is just filled with videos. All you need to do is subscribe.